So I just played the Spyro Reignited Trilogy, a Jehuty Gaming review. The Spyro Reignited Trilogy is a remake of the first three Spyro games that originally came out on PS1 by Insomniac Games, that later moved on to create the much beloved Ratchet & Clank and recently the Marvel Spider-Man games. This collection, however, was made by Toys for Bob, and seeing as I just finished all three games, I thought it was best to put my impressions out as a review. Please enjoy. Upon starting the trilogy, you are greeted with three games. The very first Spyro, the sequel, Ripto's Rage, and the third installment, Year of the Dragon. The stories of these three games are not the best. They go for a more simplistic structure to give you the context of why you're doing the things you're doing. I can dig that, the simple approach. But to be honest, the writing and performances got a chuckle out of me more often than I'd like to admit.
Staring. Haven't you guys ever seen a dragon before? You're a dragon? You got a problem with that, pussycat?
The first game starts as life being great in the land of the dragons. Spyro is goofing off while an interview is given that Gnasty Gnorc, the main antagonist, is also watching. One of the dragons calls him ugly, and in his anger he turns all the adult dragons into crystal statues. It's only Spyro left, and he sets out to rescue everyone. It's a simple premises, but it stays true to the original and gets the job done. Ripto's Rage is the direct sequel, in which Spyro wants to take a vacation with Sparks to a sunny beach for vacation. The portal, however, leads them to a new land with problems only our young dragon can solve. Elora the Fawn, a fan favorite.
What are you, some kind of goat?
I'm a fawn, you dork.
And Hunter the cheetah are introduced here, along with Ripto, who is the main villain of the second entry. Once again, a simple premises, however, here we see far more characters with more banter and better writing. Year of the Dragon is the final entry in this package, and it starts with all dragons taking an afternoon nap. Not being attentive, the dragons have all their eggs stolen by a sorceress who sent out a rhino army to collect them and bring them to the other side of the world. The tunnels, however, are too small for the adult dragons, and thus only Spyro and Hunter, from the second game, can fit through. This entry has the most characters and dialogue out of the trilogy, even packing additional characters for Spyro to interact with and even for the player to play as. Don't worry, Elora fans, she also makes a brief appearance at the ending. This one serves up more of what the second game was already doing, whilst even fleshing out the villains a bit. All in all, the stories, though becoming better, are not meant to be that deep. They should be taken lightly and enjoyed as a side dish to the main attraction, the gameplay. Spyro is still at heart a 90s platformer, even in this remake. You have a hub world that links into other levels, and you use jumping as a primary way to navigate the different levels and reach your goals while collecting gems and other collectibles. The enemies may look different from world to world or even from game to game, but the archetypes are the same across the board. We have regular cannon fodder that can be dealt with any way you want to. Then we have enemies that need to be charge attacked before they can be flamed. Then we have enemies that need to be dodged before attacking, until you realize you can actually just quickly charge in and attack them with flame before their attack connects with you. Sparks as well isn't just a companion, he's also your health indicator of how many hits you can still take. If he vanishes due to a hit, that means the next enemy attack will KO Spyro and send him back to the last checkpoint. Flying sections are also part of each game, however in the first outing these are rather hard. They need memorization and a bit of trial and error, and thus can be a little frustrating to some, even though they spice up the variety of the gameplay. The goal in each game is to explore and gather enough collectibles to gain access to new levels and proceed to different worlds. There is a gatekeeper, however, for your progress in form of the character Moneybags. He is introduced in the second game and is also present in the third one. This sleazeball charges you gems you've collected to access an area or even additional playable characters in the third game. Don't worry though, he gets what's coming to him. cool inclusion to the remake of the first game is the guidebook, which has now also been added. In the original PS1 games, the guidebook was only in the second and third game. This is a welcome quality of life improvement, since the guidebook helps you keep track of how much of each level you've completed. If you're looking to 100% these games though, especially the first one, you need to look up certain things online. Let me just say, Spyro won the tree trunk level. In terms of bosses, the first game has none. Even the battle versus Gnasty Gnorc isn't a proper battle in a traditional sense. It doesn't really qualify even as a fight. It's essentially just a chase. And therefore, it's kind of a letdown for closing up such a nice game. The second game, Ripto's Rage, therefore introduces proper boss battles. These are slightly challenging but yet simple enough so that to keep players on their toes whilst not becoming too frustrating. They are also visually varied and have different phases with their own patterns. Year of the Dragon follows the same mantra of more variety. This also carries over in more varied boss fights and more boss fights in general. You also have more characters to play as mentioned before. In his third outing, Spyro comes to the aid of other animals that later on help out with their own levels tailored towards their abilities and playstyles. This brings some welcome change of pace and variety to the game. Some, however, may feel that the third game has too many gameplay styles through the introduction of the other characters, and that it waters down the experience and goes for more of quantity over quality. I, however, feel that they are short enough to not overstay their welcome and add variety to the game. But then again, I also really liked Spyro 3, so it shouldn't be too shocking. But even I have to admit that they're not particularly deep and have minimal challenge. If anything, you could say Spyro Year of the Dragon is the easiest game out of the trilogy. Now, Spyro's arsenal consists of a charge attack, a flame attack, a jump, a glide, and in the second and third game, a hover that he can execute after the glide. There are also occasional power-ups that spice up things a bit and make our little purple dragon feel even more badass. In terms of presentation, the game looks great. In comparison to the Crash Insane Trilogy, the Spyro Reignited Trilogy has more of a stylized aesthetic, and honestly I love it. Oversaturated colors and a cartoony design lend the game the charm of a 90s Saturday morning cartoon show, but with the production value of a modern day Pixar film. It also helps that it all runs solid. However, just like with the Crash Insane Trilogy, the Spyro Trilogy runs at 30 FPS, which is somewhat of a bummer. It may be in line with the original PS1 games, but honestly, 60 FPS is seen as the standard today when it comes to platformers. At least it should have been possible on the enhanced PS4 and an Xbox One X. Honestly, I think it was a missed opportunity. Of course, on the PC, frame rate and resolution can be freed from those restrictions. The soundtrack is okay, but nothing really sticks out per se. It's got decent background music, and it really never elevates to anything beyond that. The real star of the show though are the performances. Spyro really sells you the vibe of a young dragon looking for adventure whilst being a bit naive. Other characters also do a great job. Even hating Moneybags, I have to admit his performance was really good, and it makes you dislike him because if you think about it, that was the intention behind his design. The dialogue coupled with the previously mentioned aesthetics really breathes life into these characters, and overall will make the game age well over the years. The only other negative I could point out here is the grass. Don't get me wrong, the grass looks really great. Unfortunately, it sometimes obscures the collectibles you're looking for. This wasn't really a problem in the originals, as the grass was just a flat green texture. It's just a minor point. So in summary to my review, all I want to say is that Toys for Bob have done an awesome job remaking these classic games for a new generation that never played Spyro, back in the PlayStation 1 era. This is also a love note for everyone that played the originals on PS1, and also for individuals that either love platformers or just want to try out Spyro. So more casual players may find the first game frustrating due to some difficulty spikes and a limited variety. The other two games improve upon the first one in almost every single way, have new ideas, gameplay mechanics, and even playable characters that bring more variety to Spyro as a whole. Due to this, I can't wait to get my hands on Crash 4, It's About Time, that was also developed by Toys for Bob, and who knows, maybe we'll get a Spyro 4 one day. So this has been your boy Jehuty, and I would like to thank you for watching this video till to the end. Of course, leave a like and a comment, and consider subscribing because that helps me out the most. Of course, there's more content coming down the line, more reviews and more Tekken content, and this has been your boy Jehuty, and I'll see you on the next I Just Played review.